Iwe ndichengete. Hey, good morning, guys. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. How are you guys? How are you doing? How are you doing? Oh, bless you, bless you, bless you. When I come here, it's because I've got something to say, and I'm also a celebrity. I've got followers who want to know what SabenaBoein777 is all about. I've got people who are in the same situation who can't speak. So therefore, I express how I live. I express how I've suffered in my life. And I express where I am right now. Where I am right now, if it was not for God, guys, I would be nowhere. Where I am right now, if it was not for social services, I would be nowhere. Where I am right now, if it was not for the police of England, I will be nowhere. That is a fact, right? I've always told you my children were looked after by social services. They paid rent for 5 years for me and my children. So we say thank you to that, right? Because no one would have paid rent for me and my children for 5 years at that particular time, right? And I'm forever grateful. I'm forever grateful that my children have British citizenship. I'm forever grateful. You know, as Zimbabweans, where we are coming from. But that doesn't stop us from having a mouth, right? We must have a mouth to talk. When I went, the reason why I've made this live is because I have not seen my children for 4 weeks. The last time I saw my children, I think, was around the 2nd of July. We couldn't see them the following week because we had to go to court. When I went to court, no, when we went to court with Baba Mandela, yeah, I say I because of the Zimbabwean thing, yeah, so when we went with Baba Mandela, they said they're going to give us another day, so which means we're going to see the children more time in the following week. So come the following week on the 18th of July, I went there. They told me there was a mistake or whatever, you know. They told me there was a mistake. The boys didn't come. All right. And when I went there last week, they said, okay, come on Friday. I went there. Every time when I go and see my kids, I always buy them McDonald's or KFC, which is around £16 a pop, right? So I remember now I've bought it twice, right? So last week they said, okay, come and see your boys. I went there, £15 worth of food, yeah, and seeing my boys. I got there, they said the tax man, you know, the cab man, their tire had punctured. I respect it because the truth is that you must try to be patient, right? Because they teach you how to be patient, and my response could affect my motherhood. That's a fact. I understand. So I said, okay, let me play this game, right? So they said the cabman didn't come because his cab has been punctured. All right, that's okay. Yesterday, that's £15 loss of food. I'm speaking in English so that they hear. Yesterday, I spoke to my boys and they said, Mother, you're meeting us at 3:30. So you saw me going there. I'm not supposed to discuss anything that happens inside the courts or with my boys, which is okay, but I can discuss things around it, okay? And we can't be stopped from talking if we have a mouth. If God didn't want me to talk, then he wouldn't have put this mouth, okay? And the truth is, I'm an adult, I'm a mother, I can speak for myself, and I can speak as a woman, not just as a girl, okay? So yesterday, I came from Cambridge because I was going to chill with my friend, went with my dogs to Cambridge. I was going to chill, right? And then my son told me, there's a meeting. I drove, right, straight to meet my kids. I got there. There's no meeting. Why is there no meeting? Because it's been cancelled. Who told me it's been cancelled? Nobody. So I'm reaching out to you, social services, to say, what type of behavior is this? What type of behavior is this? First, you take my kids. First, you didn't know how to solve my situation. And I kept giving you clues as to how to solve my situation. And you take my kids. Now, my children are not seeing me. I'm not seeing my children, right? I just haven't told people every time I was going to see my children that the meeting would be stopped or there's something that has happened. I tried to understand, but there comes a time when one cannot understand. So this is why I reach out to the people of Zimbabwe so that they know what's happening in my life. Because these people, when they say it to me at court, you need to stop broadcasting and you need to stop being on YouTube, I say to myself, what are you scared of? If I'm wrong, I am wrong. What are you scared of? What are you really scared of? You see, this is the power of public relations, right? Do not suffer alone. Express yourself. Yes, sister. Yes, that's my sister-in-law there, called Claire Brooks. Those are the ones who raised my kids as well. Thank you, Claire. I love you. Those are the ones who really know about sister, me, Sabina. Okay? There comes a time as a mother, it doesn't matter what situation you are in, that you should behave like a mother. And I am behaving like one. You social services, you need to stop treating us Africans as if we don't exist. If my children were white, trust me, you would be telling me every hour, every day. You took my kids from their mother who was ill, and I told you how to, I gave you solutions. But you decided to just take them without solutions. I asked you, if I had a terminally ill disease like cancer, are you saying you were just going to take my kids, or there was something which was supposed to be put in place to say that I can see my kids can come to my house 3 times a week? What happened to the people who are terminally ill? Are you saying social services take their children? Yes, I am, but I need to see my kids because me and my children, we've got a great bond. My children are my best friends, and I stopped. I was young, I used to be a girl, I used to be a bouncer, but gone are those days. I am a mother to my children. I've looked after my children for 14 years with no break. I'll tell a lie. The social worker said I had a break in 2011 when I went to prison, and I also had a break in 2008 when I went to prison. So those are the breaks I was told by social services. You've had a break. So the last break I had was in 2011 when I went to prison, and this is the second break I've had away from my kids. Like I said, I don't blame social services for everything. Actually, like I told you, we must carry on respecting them, but we must point out where there's an error. Right now, there is no communication. Why? Is it because these children belong to an African woman? And when you look at the African woman, you just think she's an idiot? Is it because you've got that kind of belief that was inserted in you by your ancestors that African don't matter or African children don't matter? Come on, get a life. Get a life. We've worked all these kind of jobs back in our days. We know how to give response to the mother. You have not responded me. Yesterday, I texted you as social services. I asked you, is the contact on? You have not responded me. You did not respond to me the whole day. So this is why I'm asking, have you stolen my children? Because these children are the property of Zimbabwe. They have green passports for Zimbabwe. They have the citizenship certificate for British. So you share, all right? So they are not fully your children as British citizens. They also belong to the Zimbabwe. They are Zimbabwean property. But ultimately, they are my children. And I'll tell you why they are my children. Because I am the one who is paying the £362 a month for them to live in this country. All right? So they are my children. I am buying them. If I was nasty to my children, why would I pay the loan for them to live? It's not like Britain gave my children to be British citizens in this country for free. Come on, man. Come on. Let's talk like mature people here. The reason why I'm doing my live is because so far I've spent at least £50 And that has all gone to the bin. Don't you think that £50 would have helped my child to buy him some trainers? Are you going to refund me of the money I've been driving to come and see you guys, to come and see my children, and I'm being told, and I am being told that it has been cancelled just like that? And I keep telling you that my youngest son is not doing so good. I had to buy him, guys, a phone, an iPhone, but it's not the expensive one. It's just an SE, just to keep him going, just to keep him going. But you social services, it's as if you've just taken a tin of baked beans. Listen, let me explain this clearly to you guys. Maybe you've dealt with Africans before, or you've dealt with me and I've cowered away. It's because I respect it. And I still respect, but there's a time when I have to do my job as well as a publicist. And please, I will respect your courts and everything, but I will not respect this kind of malpractice. It is a taboo in my culture for children to be taken by social services. So I say to you, woman of Zimbabwe, cry no more. It's not your fault. This could be simply because you're just an African and you're just in their country, because there is no communication. You social services, you must have studied enough to understand the emotions that go on between a separation of a mother and her children. Even animals, they cry when they lose their children. Even animals, they cry when their children die in the wild. And you want me to keep quiet so that you can torture me secretly? Yeah. That is a joke, all right? I will fight for my children even if it means my death. I've done it before. I've been given a taser gun for my children and I took it like a man. That means like a human, because at that particular time, I wanted my children to be more British and lose my life. So I am I am a dedicated mother. I am also an educated woman. That's where you are not getting who Sabina is. That's where, when I tell you it was acting, even the armed siege, you don't want to believe, because I did acting. That's where in Africa we say, watsika banana. You've stepped on a banana and you slide. You have seen how much I've tried to adjust myself, social services. I respect you guys. Please, let's not ever disrespect social services or the police, because once we disrespect the local authority, what are we sending to our children? Right now, what is social services sending to my children? So far, the police are much ahead than social services in my life. I am trying to protect my children from hating you in the future. Because these children would think, I thought social services were there to help us and listen to us as children. But no, you've imprisoned them. That's a fact. You've arrested them. And rightfully so for teenagers who try to be stubborn. Rightfully so. Not my youngest, my oldest is all right. Trust me, my son was 80% perfect, my oldest son. But when they try to test, and in this country, guys, when you give birth to these Zimbabwean children, I talk about Zimbabwe because I'm allowed to, because that's where I come from. You give birth to your child, Zimbabwean child here, they start mixing with children of Jamaicans. Before you know it, your child is speaking Patois. Your child is acting like a Jamaican. Your child is now even carrying knives, but they're in African. So how do you control such type of a teenager? So those are the kind of topics we want to be indulging in. We want to be cracking our heads. How does a Zimbabwean mother behave towards a teenager? How should be a Zimbabwean teenager be molded according to the British tradition and the Zimbabwean tradition? Because we also have our own culture, and one of the strongest cultures, you will not raise a hand to your mother, and you will not even swear to your mother. In the past 2 years, I've dealt with you as social services. Have you told these children your mother is ill? Half her face is not working, guys, and what she's saying is the truth. Read your books, children. Find a sport to do. I've got a beautiful car to work for you, my children. But they want to play Xbox. As social services, have you done anything about Xbox? Have you? Do you know how many parents are being tortured by an Xbox? Who brought the Xbox in this world? Who brought the Xbox in this world? Why is it that a child can drink alcohol at the age of 18? That's when you buy alcohol. But they're allowed to play something that is very addictive, and that is the Xbox. Do you see where you got it all twisted? And when that addiction comes in your house, as a mother, you're trying to push and say, no, my child, don't be on the Xbox all the time because your future will be dark. Have you protected our children against these computers which are addictive? Have you? As social services or even the government? Then those are the things we as parents, not only Zimbabwean or even English people, I've got my English friends here, they know exactly what I'm saying. There must be a cutoff for that Xbox and PlayStations. That thing must be used for children who are 16 years old and above. Not a child. That thing should be illegal. That Xbox and that PS4. Those things should be illegal. Why is it that everything falls on the parents? Why? When there is an addiction in the home, and there are so many families, English, they drag their children from their bedrooms, with one hand, go and take a bath, study. Imagine how it was for me as a parent. Now I'm stronger than ever because my oldest knows I will not take bullshit. I will respect my children the way I was brought up in Zimbabwe, and I will integrate with the British culture to which I have done fully. So please stop blaming all these things on the parents, yet stop taking a needle out of the parent's eye when you social services alone have a plank in your own eye. So you see what I'm trying to say here? There must be a neutral ground for parents to meet their children. And we must avoid all these things. We must look carefully what is really happening. So Xbox is just one of the things I've mentioned, guys, that in the future we'll be just talking how to deal with those things, because there's some parents like me, Zimbabwean parents, who are shy to come out and say, guys, my teenage child has given me today. They're shy because in my culture, if you fail to be a parent like that, it's a taboo. You're a disgrace. So I thank God that He's given me the strength to face the public of Zimbabwe when I am almost motherless, when my children are not there, because I know I'm not wrong. So there's a time that maybe these people, when you call police more than 3 times, let me tell you something, then we'll take your children, which is all right. It's your system. We must respect. But those are my children. Those are my children. I don't know if you have taken other people's children and they've kept their head down. I will not keep my head down. I will cry to the end of the world for my children. So social services, I could not call you on your phone. You switch off your phones. The only thing you've given me is that I can speak to my children as to when I like, on Instagram, Facebook, email. So I thank you for that. So I'm working for my children while I'm in my home, encouraging them. But your phones are off. So what type of a parent keeps their phone off when the other child is crying? You see where you're going wrong, social services. You could have called me yesterday to say, Sabina, there was a contact. You could have called me this morning to say, we are sorry you missed your contact. There will be another contact next week or this and that. Now I'm being told I have to see my children next week, Monday again. I swear this is really a temptation from the devil himself. So if I have to see my children next week, I missed yesterday, I have to stay the whole 6 days without seeing my children who I live for. That is a test we get from God, and we must be strong. So social services, since you listen to my Facebook things and YouTube things, I hope you can reply quicker. Because if I try to do the normal way, you don't listen. That's when you think I'm stupid. If I start doing this, that's when you listen. So please, social services, can you please arrange a refund for the 3 contacts I have missed in fuel and in emotion? And can you also refund me with the McDonald's I bought and I went to look for homeless people to give on the streets because I don't like McDonald's. So where do you think I get that money? Remember, I've given you 2 weeks to sort yourselves, and you tell me I should not come on social media and talk about it. I hope you don't look like I've spoken about the content of the courts or the content of the meetings. I'm talking around the story. And I've not mentioned names. Remember that, social services, okay? We'll start mentioning names when shit hits the fan, okay? And I'm not going to appear rude. I might appear rude, but these are my children, okay? If you can't keep a contact, just give me back my children. Stop trying to threaten me and tell me, don't go on Facebook and talk about us. What are you scared of? What are you scared of? What have you done? Okay? There are women here, I can see them. About 3 women who've told me their stories. Okay? But we are not here for war. We are not here to just find that we want to disagree with you guys. We are here for communication. Respect us just like we are white women or English women. We might be slow to speak our English, or we might hesitate because naturally we were born to be afraid of white people. But that does not mean we are not educated. That does not mean we cannot think for ourselves. All right? So please, I hope this can just finish about my 2 sons. Because I know there are other children out there. There are other parents out there who are crying and they feel robbed today. Who have been separated by their children, and that void is still there. So you mother whose child has been taken away, you mother whose children has been taken away, some of you were given back your children after 3 months. So please, that void which was separated from your child, close it and be with your child. This is where now the public, where we start believing, where we stop believing in social services because of this type of malpractice. And then you say her behavior was not right because she went to speak to the public. If I don't speak to the public, does it mean I should commit suicide by myself? Forget me not. Me, I am staying until I see my grandchildren. And I am going to move at my pace. I am not going to move at your pace if it's uncomfortable. And I'm not going to move at anyone's pace if it's uncomfortable. So I'm begging you, social services, I hope you can call me today because I've been trying to call you, and we can arrange this meeting and we can arrange this refund. It goes out for you, Zimbabweans, yeah? We must carry on respecting social services. We must carry on respecting the police, and we must protect our children from behaving like Jamaicans, not aligning with our own culture as Zimbabweans, and also integrating with the British culture. But it doesn't mean we should be punished for being African, because Africa is a third world country. This country is a first world country. It's like taking a baboon and telling it to use a microwave before you train it. So we are not here to say they're bad people. We are here to say we're strong enough now to open our mouth and to say what is wrong and what is right, and to appreciate what they've done for you. So far, I'm not appreciating being separated from my children, even though I've respected that I will not talk to them. I will not talk to my people about them, but at least I'm talking around the case. All right. So we respect you very much, social services and the police, but we also, as Zimbabwean people, must have our own voice. And thank you very much, sisters and brothers, those who've inboxed me to share their own situation. Hang on in there. Don't let your child beat you up. Don't let your child beat you up. Eventually, social services will understand who you are. I've always told you I've got a hate and love relationship with social services, but mostly it's love. Because when I look at my social worker, sometimes I want to cry because of the things I point up where she has made a mistake. All right? I want to cry, but I must see the situation as it is. I can't pretend to be nice when I'm being stabbed in my heart inside by not seeing my children, and how are my children feeling right now. But my children are strong like their mother. I've always looked after my children's emotional, how to balance their emotions. But here, guys, I've got a lady who called me before. She said she's got about a 10-year-old child. The 10-year-old child is a girl. She can just run outside naked and screaming, my mother wants to kill me. And the neighbors would call police. And even when the child is in the car with the father and mother driving, and you know this couple, yeah, they're about 50 years old. The husband is 50, the woman is about 47, and they've got a child who is about 10 years old. One day, this child wanted to open the door when the car was moving because they wouldn't buy something for that child. Can you imagine? The child opened the door and the father quickly closed. You know, the lady said, Mama Mandela, I can't believe what was happening. Now the father is just quiet. We just look at the child. The child can just start screaming over anything. So imagine a 10-year-old child trying to jump out of a car simply because the parents have not bought that child. But I want to tell you guys, this is where now we get it twisted with social services now. We as parents, we say, okay, oh, I don't want any drama. Oh, I don't want social services in my house. Let me buy that toy. You see? Because you're scared of social services. So here we are going to be building each other about the do's and don'ts of social services. Okay? If your child is being a mischief like that, what do? I want to tell you something. Those social services, yeah, if they really look at your parenting as a Zimbabwean, it might get hard. I've got 2 witnesses here and they know who they are. They were cleared by social services. The child ran to the local pub. This is an older child who is about 14, who just came from Zimbabwe, 4 months, and they thought they were Jamaican. The child ran in the nearest pub, half naked. I think this one as well. Saying, oh, my mother has done this. And they said, listen, we don't want to call police for your mom. Go home. And the child refused and sold the mom to the police and said, please, I want police. I'm not going home. So the child went with the police at the home, and the police took that child. The police returned that child in social services within 2 months, 3 months, because they realized that no, this child is stubborn. And they brought back now, my sister and her husband are living happily ever after with their child. And that child has learnt. So we as Zimbabweans, we're going to train each other, how best do we look after our children? What is social services saying? Let me tell you something. Social services are actually saying, don't discipline your child or don't punish them, but it's how you use the punishment and what punishment you give them. Okay? For me, the truth is that I was acting, yeah? I told you Mandela was trying to be funny, and I took a toothbrush, but the toothbrush was so weak because this boy is so big. So I just took a hammer, which I was doing work in my house, and I just pushed him out. I don't regret that, because the truth is that I've done acting in my life, and I used to be a bouncer. You see, have you seen when police come in your house, right? They don't keep quiet. They come in, oh, come out, we're the police, come in, we're coming in. The reason why they scream like that is to distort your mind so that you get confused. Sorry, it's mother. So the reason why they come in with such type of noise is so that the people get confused and you can lead somebody who is confused. Okay, so the way I took out my boy, it's because I used to be a bouncer and I used those kind of techniques, right? So that's where they're trying to find out, was it a technique or was it acting? But the truth is, it is what it is. When somebody puts pressure on you, you put a certain pressure. If they put too much pressure, you apply the pressure, okay? But the truth will set you free. So you, as a Zimbabwean mother or as a Zimbabwean father, please don't let your child get away with murder simply because Mama Mandela's children are in care. No, 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 no. Otherwise, you'll be raising your own devil. I've got the lady of that child who went to juvenile for 5 years. I told you when I went to see the boys the first week, my oldest son said, "Thank you, mother. Thank you, mother." I said, "What?" Because, my son, we connect, we laugh. Yeah, I miss those laughs. Yeah, he says, "Mother, Keegan, those are the people I ran away from a town I used to live because I realized these people give my children a bad behavior." I said, "Yes, mother, Keegan has been put in prison for about 5 years." I said, "What?" I speak to Keegan's mother on my other profile. Yeah, so you can see a child is already appreciating, but does it have to be like this? That they appreciate when they're in there? No. So we must look here. It's all right. We talk about social services. How do we deal with our children? You don't have to buy your child anything. As much as he screams, you know what? As a Zimbabwean person, just give up and say, "You know what? I'm doing exactly what my parents taught me, but take away the beating and the smacking. Just take it away. Be strong as a Zimbabwean woman or as a Zimbabwean father. I am not going to buy you this until you do this. Clean your room, brush your teeth, do your homework, and find a spot. Be strong as a Zimbabwean mother or as a Zimbabwean father. Because if you guys are weak, what is going to make of us who are 39 years old? What is going to make of the future Zimbabwean couple who are going to have children? Police! Police! Keep quiet right now! Yeah. So, what is going to make of that? So, what I saw from the other couple whose child opened the door, Kaga, they're 55 and they're 49, the wife, I think. Imagine, what are they going to tell me who's 40 years old? Because to them, the Zimbabwean public have always said they're failures. What about the one who was brought social services to their home? Are they going to come here and teach us how to be a good mother? Because deep inside, they've been doubted as being a good parent. So you see now, there will never be a stop to say, okay, our 55-year-old parents can also help people like Sabina, can also help people like Muranda Kazi. They can't, because they themselves, the system has put a doubt in their mind, so they can never tell us how to behave with social services. So that's the gap I'm coming to fill in as a mediator between the two. It's not a taboo to say your kids are in foster care. It doesn't mean you're a bad mother to say your kids are in foster care. Let me tell you something. Most of us Zimbabweans watching this live, all of you, we would have grown in foster care if this kind of system was in Zimbabwe. Am I lying? Am I lying? You know the way we were brought up with our parents. Where are you right now? Where are you right now? Most of you are nurses in the NHS. Most of you are doing great jobs in England. Is your child going to do a great job like you? Are you going to raise your child the way you were brought up by your own parents for you to be where you are today? Most of you as well are social workers. Good jobs. But were you going to be a social worker if you were not raised like that? Were you? So we need to tread carefully how we raise our kids in Zimbabwe and how we raise them in England, and we need to integrate the English way of raising kids and the Zimbabwean way of raising kids. That way we all win. I've always told you about my best friend Carla, whose son works for Range Rover. I met Carla 5 years ago. That means a child was 13 years old. The child is 18. Do you know there are times when I used to scream in my own home, yeah, and I would start thinking I'm a bad mother, I'm a bad mother. When I got to Carla's house, she's doing the same. with the son, because the son is also addicted with PS4. But I want to tell you something. This woman, this English woman, made me realize it's okay to be strict. It's okay to be strict as a mother. And she's younger than me. She's 37 years old. But I want to tell you something, my friends. The way this English woman, my best friend, she's quite posh in that way, yeah? The way she's not rich, but her behavior is very posh. When I say posh in Zimbabwe, it's tsikane magariro, kupfugama, kuombera mawoko, and everything else. Her child is 18 years old now, working for Range Rover, that apprenticeship. That means she was strict for a good reason. The son has a girlfriend now, and they go all over Europe doing things. But what about you? What about you who is scared to tell your child something because you're scared to lose your NHS PIN? That means you're a nurse. What about you? It's high time you speak for yourself, you become strong. Those who lost their kids through social services, you can always reapply. Did you know that? Even if your children were in social services for 4 years, if your situation changes, you can always go and request for your children. So far, I want to tell you that social services, especially the judges, yeah, they're very fair people. They look at situations. They really, really look at situations. So if you're in this situation, please do not despair. Do not despair, but learn to share your problem. Because if you keep it inside yourself, that's when you hear all these committing suicides, right? If you keep it inside yourself, yeah, and I know there are a lot of women who've experienced this, including the last auntie we lost. Maybe there was no, the auntie we lost, Auntie Rochelle, maybe there was no care plan put in place for her. So she felt alone. So when I was working with her, I was working with her slowly until we get to this point. And I think if she had listened to this video, her life would have changed. So please, people in England, let's carry on respecting social services. Let's carry on respecting police, but do not be afraid of them. I love you guys, and a very, very good morning, right? Boein777 out.